Hello, my beautiful souls. This is your High Priestess Shannon. And guess what? It is Friday. Today we're going to jump into the future download. And this Friday future download is not for the faint of heart. So buckle up because we are talking about what's coming. And most of it is already here. Today's episode is about the quiet rise of dictatorship and how this current state of social climate here in the States is truly a soft martial law that is going to become harder, and how this white supremacy is cloaked in this Christian nationalism, and how freedom is slowly being written out of the script. Again, this isn't about fear. It's about preparedness. Because the ancestors warned us, and my visions have been confirming it. The golden age we are selling, they're selling, it's gold plated ass chains, y'all. It's the stuff from the flea market. Those chains have already been fastened around our freedoms, made look shiny. So let's get into it. Hey, everybody. Oh, it is so hot. Ooh, super hot today. My little office can't take the heat in here right now, so we're going to try to go through this kind of quickly. But wow. So let's start with what they're calling the national emergency. Trump and his handlers, Stephen Miller, little gadgets like that, they are carefully curating this narrative. And they've been doing it since like 2016 when he came down that gold plated ass fake ass escalator. It's more of a classic strategy. So it's create the crisis, amplify the fear, and then offer control as a solution. So I want to talk a little bit more. Back in the early part of this year, Trump declared a national emergency at our southern border, right? Despite any of us seeing any real, like, seriously, like anything that's going on in like how it was in El Salvador before El Bukaka, the president there, took over as a dictator there. But the biggest thing that we were seeing is that we had a huge decline in illegal crossings. We started to see more movement when it came to the border. We got a great border bill that he killed, but now he's ramping it up again. And this time it's with more executive orders. On April 29th, he signed an executive order that would allow an expanded military involvement in domestic law enforcement, allowing local law enforcement to have the National Guard as a backup. And he's also, him and his minion, talking about the suspension of habeas corpus and the empowerment that the Department of Homeland Security has in detaining people indefinitely without due process, all under this domestic terrorism protocol. What's important to know is that the definition of domestic terrorism is now being shifted. So if you have like a tattoo that is for autism, that's considered a gang sign. And it is now loosely being to applied to activists who organize protests, if you're pro-Palestine, journalists that are publishing their stuff, we are seeing their dissent. Spiritual and indigenous leaders are teaching us to return to our ancestors, that unpatriotic system that the US has indoctrinated us into. And this means us, my beloveds. This means all of us. It means me. It means you. So let's break this down. Right now, we are seeing gold, gold for pardons. And it's like a pipeline. If you pay Daddy Dumpty Pants $1 million and you have somebody that's in prison, you can get them out. Look at the atrocity of the Christies. And according to many whistleblowers and leaked communication, something in the excess of over 40 individuals with super violent criminal histories, especially like cartel affiliates, um, known human traffickers, domestic terrorism, they have all had their charges dropped and or sentence commuted after, a family member makes a financial donation directly or indirectly to Trump's aligned super PACs or his Bitcoin or his crypto coin. Um, and there's one super, super glaring evidence of this or example of this, and that is, I'm going to try to say his name correctly, Ivan Archivado Guzman Salazar. And he is the son of El Chapo. And he was quietly released from US custody. No charges. Why? Why? The reports are that allegedly a backdoor deal had been made through international shield accounts, and he was traded for future cooperation, which we know that this could only mean a be a chaos agent of our country. That's all he can do. Like, that's all he knows how to do. He is a cartel leader. He is a murderer. He is a killer. And it's not a conspiracy. That's the part that just hits hard. It's all very much well documented. All of these instances are transactional and show a pattern. And it's of Trump using America's justice system like his own personal monopoly board. And so you have to ask yourself, what do we do now that all these violent criminals have been released? There's only one thing they know how to do, and it's create violence, fear, to bring the social collapse that they have been talking about, to cause the violence in our neighborhoods, like they say that we are inundated with. Yes, we have our problems. Yes, we are working on those, and some of them are very hard. But I mean, we were more focusing on how do we save our children from these school shooters. And now Trump's here, and now it's all about, well, school shooters, who cares? It's the brown kids that are in your children's school. That's the problem because they're arresting children at their schools. And so soft martial law becomes this like super hard concrete. And It's gonna lead to boots on the ground in all of our towns because they are creating a false flag. And we already know we're living in a form of soft martial law. Like the National Guard has already, don't know if you guys have heard this, but have already been deployed to 9 major cities since February. For what? Customs and Border Patrol officers are now operating way far away from the borders. Like you're seeing them up here in my neck of the woods in the San Francisco Bay Area. And they're going to start making it harder, even more harder, for protest zones to be designated as instability regions, or for us to actually be able to fight that, not to make it harder for them, but for us. And then here comes the big kicker, guys. Section 8C. Go look it up. Section 8C of this 2025 budget, this big, beautiful bill that was passed in the shadows of the night by the House. Here it comes, guys. It contains language that removes legal accountability for any action the president deems necessary under this national emergency. In simple words, Trump now has a de facto immunity, and the law no longer will apply to him if the Senate passes that bill. But it is under a reconciliation, so I am very concerned that it will even have to go to the House or to the Senate, that it could just become law. And one of the biggest parts of it is that if he claims it's part of the national interest, they'll let him do whatever he wants. This was all slipped in with like no media coverage, hidden under the language of national stabilization and security response acceleration. It isn't speculation anymore. This is how democracy ends, quietly, while we're distracted with all the tariffs. Them suspending habeas corpus is a cornerstone of our Western freedoms. It guarantees us the right to a fair trial no matter what. It ensures that no one is held without being charged or brought before a judge. The executive order that he signed on the 29th quietly suspended habeas corpus. And in certain cases, he has deemed urgent threat to national cohesion. And it's already being listed on a watch and detained database. You don't believe me? Today, they put out the sanctuary cities list to be targeted. I think what's worse is that undocumented immigrants, asylum seekers, Black and brown protesters, our trans youth, okay, and our indigenous leaders are already being watched. And soon they will be being detained. We just haven't heard the chatter yet. So in my visions, This also hits on a specific one that I had before my heart attack, very early 2023, I think. That is when I first saw this like gold city. This- I want to say it was a city. It might not have been a city. It might have been like a expansion of like this beautiful city underneath the Vatican. And it wasn't like shiny gold, like wealth. It was in frequency and ancient technology, almost as if it was glowing like a battery. And now we know that these are pretty much probably going to be recognized as the energy chambers, the the sanctuary sites of the temples from pre-Christianity when we had goddess worship, which we all know holds vibrations that could realign that humanity into harmony. But we have to have this shift. And guess what? They built cathedrals and prisons over them. They installed symbols to distort the energy fields. And they burned our divine feminine power beneath flags, crosses, and dollar bills. And this is all tied into the goddess rising movement, the earth mother awakening us. We are awakened. We see the truth beneath all the bullshit veils that they put over us. And I think they're terrified. I think that's why these laws, these crackdowns, these chaos agents are here to stop that feminine awakening because they know that we are unstoppable. This is the abortion bans. This is the she can't vote unless her husband says she can, or, she has the proof of her identity. They want to keep us in these trauma loops. They want to block the return of the earth mothers, like the ones that we talked about, Danu, Asiya, Echel, because we remember our roots. We feel it in our bones. So I want you to watch for these things. And I want to call it Trump's golden lie, Mr. Taco Man. He is calling it the new American golden age, right? But that gold is fool's gold. It's shiny, it's pretty, but beneath it, it's all rot. So, some of the things that I want you to look for starting to happen to know that, yeah, okay, she's onto some is I believe he's going to do a national draft, especially aimed at those that are in the Black and brown communities, you know, a way of restoring the order that he caused. Kind of like the Homeland Security reality program to obtain your citizenship so that everybody can watch you do the Running Man. Or what's the other one? Hunger Games. I want you to begin to watch social credit systems. Watch how those that are tied to your online presence and spiritual content start to get played with. I've had my website hit by, it was literally 27 hits on Sunday from the deep South, all over the deep, dirty, dirty South, all from cell phones, all sneaking around my website because I get a analytics report that shows me your IP address, your location, what you were looking at. And so you really want to watch those type of things start to pop up. Or if you start seeing a lot of bots like America or Daddy's just trying to save us, the bots. Start watching and seeing how much that's going around again. My spiritual leaders, my sisters, my brothers out there that are spiritual practitioners, be wary. They're going to start labeling you as a cult leader, not the occult, a cult, projecting. They're also going to deem us as a domestic threat because we will not comply with their Christianity and their bullshit. Now, there's something else that's going on that's a little bit more disturbing, and we got the okay from the Supreme Court this morning that they can do it, and that is the use of foreign prisons, like private facilities like CCOT in El Salvador. The UAE has a lot of these prisons that they're starting to build. Colombia. And then the one that really gets me is they're sending them to South Sudan, and it's just to imprison dissenters outside of US jurisdiction so that they don't have to deal with any red tape over your rights. And I don't think like this is like hella far in the future. I feel like this is like a turn of the season maybe. The dial of the year of the wheel. And it will happen. Because one of the things that I want you to remember is that we are not afraid of the dark. We don't need a light. We are the nightlight. Okay? We were never meant to walk quietly. We were born from abuse, baptized in fire, and resurrected from death. Literally. I am not scared of Trump. I am not scared of the military, the puppets, the pastors with the blood on their hands of Jesus, because I know who walks with me, the earth mothers, the dragon spirits, all guided by my internal blue flame. And also, the most important piece, the ancestors who refuse to bow. So remember, my loves, you are not alone. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. It really is. And this is your reminder to rise within, not out there, to rise within yourself, to build up yourself, to be the ritual yourself. So, with that, my beautiful sisters and brothers and my awesome supporters, I hope to join you again on Monday, but I don't know. I have a lot going on. We have our High Priestess program going on. I have a lot of things going on here in the casita. Um, so I hope I can get Monday out another episode of the past where we can dive into like false histories that we've all been fed and how it ties directly into this like golden bird cage he's putting us into. So again, I'm Shannon, the High Priestess, the owner of Muse Goddess Botanica, and your guide on this beautiful podcast. And they lied. Until then, stay unsinkable, stay sovereign, and most importantly, stay you.